All right, if you're here, you're on a mission, just like me, to create the absolute best smoked turkey. We're going to forget all the guesswork. Today, we're breaking down a battle-tested blueprint that is going to guarantee a phenomenal result every single time. So, let's dive right in.
I mean, are you tired of that dry breast meat? Or maybe that disappointing rubbery skin? Yeah, we've all been there. And that is the exact problem we are solving today. We're not just aiming for a good turkey, we're going to engineer a perfect one.
And this right here, this is the plan that gets us there. Forget about crossing your fingers and just hoping for the best. We're replacing hope with a clear, step-by-step process for total turkey perfection.
So, to kick things off, we really need to define what success even looks like. What are we actually trying to achieve here? Well, it all comes down to 3 core mission objectives. Here they are. First, juicy, tender meat. I mean, that's completely non-negotiable, right? Second, that perfectly crispy, beautifully rendered skin that everyone's going to fight over. And third, a rich but balanced smoke flavor that really complements the bird instead of just overpowering it. Every single step from here on out is designed to hit these 3 targets.
Okay, these are our core numbers, the data points you're going to live by for this entire cook. I want you to notice that smoker temperature, 275 to 300 degrees. That slightly higher heat is the real secret to avoiding that rubbery skin. And crucially, look at this. We have 2 different finish temperatures for the breast and the thigh. Managing that difference, well, that's the key to a perfectly cooked bird.
All right, let's get into the first phase of our operation, the prep. Success here starts days in advance, and this is where we build the foundation for a seriously juicy turkey.
So, let's cover the fundamentals. First, thaw it safely in the fridge. No shortcuts on this, please. Then, remove the neck and giblets. You can save those for an amazing gravy later. And here's a critical point we're going to come back to again and again. Pat the entire bird completely, totally dry. Surface moisture is the #1 enemy of crispy skin.
Now, if you want to level up from just a good turkey to an absolutely unforgettable one, this next step is your secret weapon. Yep, we're talking about the brine.
And this just shows you how simple it is. The ratio is what's key. So, what's actually happening here? Well, through osmosis, the salty solution forces moisture into the turkey cells and, more importantly, it keeps it there during the cook. The salt makes the meat more tender, and the sugar, well, that balances the flavor and helps with that beautiful browning. And the aromatics? That's your first layer of amazing flavor.
The process itself is pretty straightforward, but one point is absolutely critical for food safety. You have to make sure that brine is completely cold before the turkey goes anywhere near it. Then, submerge the bird, let it hang out in the fridge for 12 to 18 hours, and then, after a really light rinse, you guessed it, pat it completely dry one more time.
Okay, let's jump to game day. Now that our turkey is brined and ready, we've got 2 final things to do before it hits that smoker. We need to lock in that crispy skin and set the bird up for a perfectly even cook.
So the most important part for crispy skin is right here. Step 1, air drying. Leaving that bird uncovered in the fridge literally pulls all the moisture off the skin's surface. This creates a dry canvas that's going to render and crisp up beautifully. After that, it's just a simple rub with some oil or butter and a really generous seasoning.
Now let's talk about an optional, but let's be honest, a highly recommended technique, spatchcocking. If you've never heard of it, don't worry. It sounds fancy, but it's just a method where you cut out the turkey's backbone with some good poultry shears and you flatten it out.
So why on earth would you do this? Because it is a total pro move. I'm telling you, the bird cooks way faster, it helps solve that age-old problem of the breast overcooking while you're waiting for the thighs to finish, and you get so much more surface area for crispy skin and smoke to hit. It's a win-win-win.
Okay, the prep is done. It is time for the main event. Let's talk about managing that smoker to nail all 3 of our mission objectives.
Here is your setup checklist. We've already locked in our temperature target. For wood, you want to think mild and sweet. Apple or cherry are just perfect. They won't overpower the bird. A drip pan underneath is an absolute must, not just for cleanup, but for catching those drippings for your gravy. And most importantly, get those temperature probes in exactly the right spots. One in the thickest part of the breast and one in the thigh.
You know, people always want to know, so how long is it going to take? And this chart, this gives you a pretty solid estimate. For a 12 to 13 pound bird at 300 degrees, you're looking at about 3, maybe 3.5 hours. But
This is probably the single most important rule in all of barbecue and smoking. The clock is just a suggestion. Your thermometer, that is the law.
The turkey is done when it hits those target temperatures we talked about earlier. Not a moment before, not a moment after.
We are in the home stretch now. But listen, getting the turkey off the smoker is only half the battle. Now we have to stick the landing to make sure all of our hard work really pays off.
So, the second that breast hits 160 degrees, pull it from the heat. But do not, and I repeat, do not, carve it yet. You gotta tent it with some foil and just let it rest for at least 20 minutes. This allows all those amazing juices to redistribute throughout the meat. If you skip this step, all that moisture is just gonna end up on your cutting board instead of in the turkey.
Want to guarantee that skin is just shatteringly crisp? Okay, here's a great little pro tip. For the last 20 or 30 minutes of the cook, crank up the heat. This final blast of high temperature will render out any of that remaining fat and just give you that absolutely perfect finish.
Now for a really clever bit of food science. We know that breast meat cooks faster than the dark meat, right? So to fight this, you can actually chill the breast with an ice pack before it ever goes in the smoker. This gives the thighs a little head start, helping everything finish much closer to the same time. It's kind of an advanced trick, but man, it really works. Whew! Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So, before you go and fire up that smoker, let's just run through a final pre-flight checklist to make sure all systems are a go.
Just run down this list. Is it thawed? Is it brined? Is that skin nice and dry? Are your probes in? And is your smoker hot and steady? And most importantly, have you committed to letting it rest? If you can check all these boxes, you are absolutely on the path to success.
So there you have it, the complete blueprint for a perfect smoked turkey. We've given you the technique, we've given you the science. The only question left is, how are you going to make it your own? What kind of herbs, spices, and wood smoke are you going to use to create your signature bird? Now you have the plan to make it happen.